Good.
Yep.
Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting for Wednesday, June 5th. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and flag. All together, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Opening comments from the Vice Chairman. Enzo?
Yeah, I want to thank first Tony and Zach Taylor. It was his first day on the job for a great job getting that sewer repaired. As you know, the last time that happened, there was a lot of mismanagement. And fortunately, we had you in there and Zach, who I went down there, was very impressed. He was right in the hole. You know, his very first day on the job, and I just kind of looked at him and said, good luck. But they got it done, so it limited our expense. So, thank you. And pass that on to Zach, too.
I will. I was going to discuss a little bit about it during the town administrator report.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you.
Nope.
Josh?
Nope.
I just want to, I want to thank Molly Conlon and the Memorial Day Committee for an outstanding parade. It was a great time, and they did a great job, and all the participants. And the cemetery was just completely done very nice. Okay. Nothing else on the opening comments? Tony, do you have? Okay. The Citizens Forum is up next. Hold on, Mike. Counselor, come on, I want you to sit right up front here. I don't want to... Yeah, no, yeah. Okay, Citizens Forum. Mike Manning.
Selectmen, it's good to be back here and join you for one of your meetings this time. I come here for a short piece of business, and that's to present a small petition requesting consideration of a warrant article in the next annual or special town meeting, whichever should come first. It's a very minor revision to the zoning bylaws, and I'll leave you a copy for your consideration. I understand later you're going to be sending on some other material to the planning board for their consideration. And the petition does request, of course, that this go through the same sort of review and discussion. And so without further ado, I'll give Tony and each of the three of you a copy of the petition signed by 19 citizens of the town of Nahant, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter, hang on for a minute.
Oh, it's okay, yeah. Remind me, Richie.
No. The librarian, where is she? Where is the librarian? You want to read your proclamation?
Thank you very much, Sharon Hawks from Nahant Public Library. We had a very nice 200th anniversary celebration on Saturday, and I want to say thank you to everyone who participated, who donated, and who came to enjoy the evening. Thank you also for Tony for his remarks and for the many people who did add their remarks. From the Senate, the state legislators, we have a joint resolution, and I'd like an opportunity to read it to you. It says, whereas the Nahant Public Library continues as one of the oldest municipal libraries in Massachusetts, begun in 1819 with 1,000 books by one William Wood, a summer visitor from Boston, who sought donations of books to form such a library, and whereas Nahant's first collection of books was donated by such important early luminaries of Massachusetts as the Ice King businessman Frederick Tudor, the first Bishop of Boston, John Cheverus, the librarian of Harvard and a leader of Unitarianism, Andrew Morton, the Massachusetts Speaker of the House, Timothy Bigelow, the first librarian of the Boston Athenaeum, William Smith Shaw, and wife of the U.S. Secretary of State, Mrs. Daniel Webster, among many others. And whereas, having outgrown its original placement in the local schoolhouse and later the town hall, the library's trustees, then led by U.S. Senator Henry Cabot Lodge, had a beautiful Jacobean-style building constructed for the growing collection in 1895, which still houses library services today and is a National Registered Historic Building and a jewel for the town. And whereas the library continues to serve today as a haven to all who want to surround themselves with reading, learning, history, and community. And whereas the smallest town by landmass in the Commonwealth today impacts people throughout Massachusetts with its library's innovative programming and services in such areas as public health, local history, and appreciation of nature, in partnership with many other town departments, organizations, and volunteers. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Massachusetts General Court expresses congratulations to the town of Nahant on the 200th year anniversary of the Nahant Public Library, wishing all success in its next 100 years, and encourages everyone to support and enjoy the People's University, the public libraries of Massachusetts. And be it further resolved that a copy of these resolutions be transmitted forthwith by the Clerk of the Senate to the Board of Selectmen and the Library Board of Trustees Chair of the town of Nahant. This was read in the Senate at the end of May.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Nice job. Peter, you want to? Please give your name and address for the record.
Peter Rogal, 391 Nahant Road. So I haven't spoken much at these meetings over the years, living here 15 years, but I thought I'd reach a point from the stuff I've been hearing. I've been working in Boston this week on something, and I'm getting all these text messages and phone calls from people about what's going on with Northeastern and you guys. And like, you know, it's time to tell the truth. I figured, let's tell the truth to each other, because I don't care. Let's tell the truth. The truth is that a lot of citizens in town think that you guys aren't helping to stop Northeastern. And it's through meetings, it's through seeing people meeting together, it's through rumors, it's from talk from Northeastern, and it's about money that they're talking about. And I want to know, as a Nahant resident, who helps a lot of people in this town, okay? And I'm not looking for I'm not looking for people to tell me that. I just want to say that I care about this town, okay? Even though I haven't lived here for 50 years or 60. I'm like, geez, I think I'm a pretty smart guy. And I go, why would anyone, a town official, want to support Northeastern? And I'd like you guys to tell us why you're supporting Northeastern. And you could tell us that you're not. Is it about the money? Is it the $1.5 million now, the $100,000 a month for 29 years? Is that what it is? So we're going to sell out to Northeastern? And then when the 1.5 is spent, what are you going to do? What are you guys going to do? They're not going to give you any more. But what are your kids going to do, Tony? What are your grandkids going to do when there's a monstrosity up there? When they buy my house and turn it into a dorm? You don't think that shit happens? What are they going to do when they turn East Point into a college community, a university? That's what they do. Everybody knows it, but no one's going to say it. I'm being polite. I'm an intelligent guy, and I go, geez, I've been in business 41 years. And my brain says and my heart says, we're selling out to Northeastern for 1.5 or 5 million or 4 million. There's homes in town that are worth more than you're going to sell out the town for. There's homes more than what they're offering. I'm like, it can't be. You guys wouldn't do that. You've lived here forever. Your family's lived here. You've lived here forever. Richie, you're a Marine. You would never do that. You said in February you were going to go up there and plant a Marine flag on Mount Suribachi and say, we defeated Northeastern. You've committed to stopping Northeastern. We voted for you. I don't even know who you are. So I'm just saying that at least 70% of this town doesn't want Northeastern to build anymore for no amount of money. No amount of money. Let's elevate the discussion to saving this town, because you guys have lived here longer than me. But why do I care more than you? For $100,000 a month for 29 years, we're all going to be dead, except for you. So stop it. Support us, because you said in February and you said it in March, and it's all recorded that you wanted to stop Northeastern. Don't sell this town out. If you need money, ask for the money, and let's have a meeting together, not behind a garage and not in someone's house. Let's have it together here, and let's work as a team and fight these bastards.
Peter. You
Want to talk to me?
Well, yeah, I like that.
Let's tell the truth.
I like, you know, I'm not sure where you're getting all this information, but we're talking to Northeastern and just hearing what they have to say. Nothing's been done. There's just, it's a communication thing. That's all it's, and they're offering X to the town. We're just listening. We're listening to them, that's all.
Don't take it, Richie.
But wait a minute, Peter, wait, hold on. You know, it's not up to me.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
You're part of it.
Well, hold on. I haven't changed,
Good.
okay? I have never changed.
We'll go to the top of Mount Suribachi.
Well,
And we'll bleed with you, Richie. We will die for you.
I understand,
Lead this thing, for God's sake.
but we're listening to them, that's all. You know,
Raise the money.
no, I'm not worried about money, or there's no, you know, but please, don't, you know, the Board of Selectmen, I mean, there's been no vote on here, or no one supporting or not supporting. We're just listening to them.
Work together at anything the town can do, the organizations, the committees to help stop with these, and let's support them, not fight them.
We'll see. We'll see what you, just, okay? Are you leaving? Are you leaving?
Well, if you're going to keep talking about this, you're so proud.
Well, no, I you know.
I think you are, actually.
No. Hey, Billy, you want to say something?
Bill Mahoney, 179 Willow Road. I spoke regarding this a month ago, but the Northeastern has got a ENF just this week, and I just want to mention the 17 commercial lobstermen who live in Nahant, who fish out in Nahant, and I want to be recorded that these 17 people are against Northeastern. We cannot be bought by a promise of a lobster hatchery to be developed in conjunction with their planned expansion. I said this a month ago, and I re-emphasize it tonight because the ENF is out. Okay, it's one of the oldest fishing fleets, lobster fishing fleets in the state. We've closely observed Northeastern recently in Roxbury, when they said they had a 7-story building that going up, and it turned into a 22-story building. And also, more recently in Burlington, they've said one thing, and as you know, the gentleman who came in December disagreed with what actually is happening, is what they promised. So we're concerned that Northeastern has not been honest In fact, they weren't honest with us lobstermen when they said, we're in cooperation with you people. This came out in one of their glossy little folders back a month or two ago. That was untrue. Okay, we listened to them, we were polite to them, but there was no collaboration. Talk about old Nahant, okay? Mark Irvin, Justin Mahoney, myself, Bill Mahoney, Jimmy Passanisi, Timmy O'Keefe, John Maletti, Dickie Cadigan, Jimmy Maletti, Joel Marie, Warren Edwards, Ricky Maletti, Teddy Mahoney, Brian Mahoney, Freddie Heffler, Anthony Alessi, and Josh Mahoney. We all signed this. We're dead set against northeastern expansion, and they came out with their summary of the ENF saying that, you know, the hatchery's still in there. They're going to do a hatchery, and their technology is BS too about how many lobsters they're going to save, etc. Lobstermen know how to B-notch. We figured out how to keep the species moving years ago. Northeastern is out of whack. So I want to make it clear that these old Nahanters are against this. Thanks.
Michelle Capano, 29 Ocean Street. So, sitting here, I was not planning on speaking tonight, but there's just a tremendous amount of tension. Tension in town, tension in this room, and we have to elevate the conversation. I want to take a step back because I was actually a little bit surprised, and unfortunately he's not here, but I would like the Board of Selectmen to read into record the petition that Mr. Manning presented. I think it's disingenuous to come and present his petition and not read it into record. And now I'm going to make this linkage. We're a data-driven society. People look for data all the time. And even more so, it's important that our leadership is transparent. And that transparency is not evident right now. There's meetings that are held by the Board of Selectmen, and we're not getting updates. Meeting minutes are not posted on the town website. In prior history, prior years, those meeting minutes are available. Come to find out, looking for something, meeting minutes since October are not on the website. So I'm not looking for an answer today, and I'm certainly, the residents hope that you will correct it and get those meeting minutes correlated and posted so people can have access to them. I think that's a fair request. And I hope you will read the petition that Mr. Manning presented tonight, because I think it's fair for the people that are here tonight and those that are watching on television to know what that petition is, and so they can understand it, because if it's in direct correlation with the discussion on the planning board, then people need to understand and make those connections.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I missed this, something I missed?
What's, and
Every
meeting minutes for the Board of Selectmen since October are not on the town website. You can go look it up. You can look it up on your phone. It's very
I'm going to
clear.
look it up right now. They usually are.
Okay.
I'm surprised they're not there. They should be.
I know,
there.
they should be. And the town's very good at doing that. The
This is the
YouTube videos are posted, but the
This
meeting
is the
minutes are not
first
there.
time I've heard that.
So
This is the first time I've heard it. And what's the petition you say is not?
Mr. Manning just presented you a citizen's petition, and I'd like you to read it into record tonight for the Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Okay, we can read this
Okay,
petition.
thank you.
So I think May 23rd is there, Michelle. The actual film. Yeah.
The YouTube videos in the film are not the official record for the town. The meeting minutes are.
Well, they've been typed up and they've been approved by the board. I guess they just haven't been uploaded on the website. It's certainly not any attempt to disinform the residents.
No, she's absolutely
We
right.
can do that going forward, right?
Yes.
Get them up there.
Yeah?
I don't see him.
Yeah, you've been voting on them. They're
Yeah.
ready.
Yes,
Well, they should be able to see him, the official record.
Yeah.
Paul Spurn, 36 Mayolis Road. I know that there's going to be a lot of discussion coming up about Northeastern, and I don't want to divert attention too much from that, but I heard Mr. Barletta say that he's going to make a report about the sewage problem in Lynn, and I'm hoping that he'll address several points. Number one, what is the responsibility, or what is the status of that sewage line? Who owns it? Who maintains it? Who's responsible for repairs? What's our relationship to the city of Lynn? Does Lynn have responsibilities regarding contractors who may be doing construction in the area? I think this is a critical issue that we need to clarify in terms of limiting our liability and seeing who else may be responsible for the proper maintenance of this line. Only because the last time there was a sewer break, it seemed to me that there had been construction in the area, and now, if you drive by there, you'll see a tremendous number of heavy pieces of machinery, and it's hard for me to imagine that there isn't some connection. So I hope you'll address that. And then secondly, we were notified by telephone, by, I don't know if it was the emergency system that you used, Tony, but we got the notification and then no updates. And I know there was a notice on the town website. I did not follow it up. I don't know if that was updated, but that sort of thing should be kept up to date. I hope it was.
Didn't you have the Lincoln board out there updating?
It was, again, I was going to get into it, but we didn't finish the repair. We finished the repair at like 3 in the morning, and so around, I don't know, 5, 6 a.m., I put a post on the town hall Facebook page, and I believe the website got updated too, but we did not end up putting a phone call out again the next morning. Honestly, it was just a fact of just being really busy, so we didn't get it. We didn't have a chance to do that, but we certainly tried to keep people informed. I know not everybody has Facebook, and I know not everybody checks the website, and the code red tends to get the best way to reach everyone. That's why we did this first call that way. But I can wait until,
Well, can I answer? We own the pipe, Paul. We own it from Lowlands, Forest Main, all the way to Lynn. And the last time that we had a break, it was pretty much in the same spot, in front of U-Haul. And then it broke again up further. That was the major one that they couldn't put a Band-Aid on. And that was in a block. It was in a big block of cement that didn't really, it was untouched by, it just happened. Wear and tear, electrolysis, and when they dig down there, they have a hard time because they have to wait for the tide to go out. Sea levels are rising, water's coming in. I mean, the water actually comes in those holes. So salt water doesn't help. I believe Tony's got a great company on working on this. And right now they're in the what phase? You can get into that later. But we own everything. So, and it has been a problem. And really. I presume we have an easement in Lynn. Yes, we have an easement on on the Linway. And I understand what you're saying, but the last time this happened, I had brought it up at the Selectmen's meeting. Actually, I had a public meeting during the summer about how much it's going to cost us. I put that folder out for people to take and look at it. This is what it's going to cost us to do this whole project. These are our options. It was a joint meeting between the FinCom and the Board of Selectmen. And it's going to be expensive, as you know. There's a lot of options. Tony's working on that very hard. He's got a good company working on it with us. And I can understand what you're talking about with you think that they might have broke the pipe. I mean, unless they have a shovel mark in it, from a backhoe, it's pretty hard to prove. I mean, did it look like it was damaged from
No, it
It was actually across the street from there, so.
it was 14 feet underground
Right.
in the middle lane. It wasn't hit by anything. Can I just get into it?
Go ahead, sure. Yeah, this is probably the best time to do it.
Yeah, so, all right, so Monday morning, we noticed overflow on the Linway around 7:30, 8 a.m., and immediately began mobilizing. Grenice and Sons from Salem calling, we got to call DCAM to do an emergency waiver on procurement. We got to call DEP because it's hazardous material. You got to call DCR because it's their road, and MassDOT. Got to call state police for details. Lynn Water and Sewer, the city of Lynn. There's a number of procedures that have to get put into place immediately. Then we immediately called in pump trucks. So when you have a sewer line, well, let me say back up. Obviously, the first thing we did was make sure it was our sewer line that was leaking. And when we confirmed that, now we go into those next steps. And then we called pump trucks, because when you're working on the sewer line, we don't have a bypass option. So you have to shut down the line to work on it. And essentially that's where it gets really expensive, is those trucks. So I think it was around 11:30. We shut down the pump station and started trucking over to Lynn. We got into the ground about, I would say about 2 o'clock we broke ground, and it wasn't until, midnight or so that we actually started to get into working on the pipe. It's 14 feet deep. There's a ton of tidal flow in the ground over there. High tide had came in, I think about, I want to say around 10 o'clock, and the hole just was filling up. So we had to wait until we were able to pump the hole down enough to be able to expose the pipe. Well, we noticed it was right next to electrical conduit, very similar to the last 2 breaks in that area. Not luckily, I guess, when we had the last break, we bought a number of pieces of material, just in case we were to have another one. So that was the issue with the last break, was the material we needed to fix the pipe, we had to ship in from somewhere, and it took a long time. Took a week. So for a week we were using those pump trucks. So we had material on site, so we were able to fix it much quicker. But similar break, usually if you have, I'm not an engineer, but the way it was explained to me was that if you have a stress on the pipe from the inside, you'll have more of a linear crack in that pipe. In this scenario, you had like a football-sized hole caused by corrosion. And again, it's right next to an electrical line, gas line. You have salt water in the area. So what our engineers, and we had Wright Pierce, the company that we've hired to do an assessment on our sewer main, we had them on site once we got down to the pipe. We ended up cutting that section of pipe out, and they have it, so they're analyzing it. But it's pretty much assumed that the reason it happened was from corrosion from electrolysis in the area. So we cut about a 4-foot section, and we had pipe in stock, and put a new piece of pipe down there, and a couple couplings, and we're able to fix the pipe. But we don't have a cost estimate yet. We have detailed notes of the entire activity, when crews showed up, when agencies were notified, and the next step is for us to go through an after-action plan, an after-action meeting, and make sure that, if there was any improvements that we can do to speed it up. But that was a pretty quick recovery. Zach Taylor, our new DPW superintendent, started on Monday, and he was in here, getting his paperwork done with HR when we got the call and had to go right to it, and he was there till 3 a.m. So it was a great way to break them in. But with the sewer situation, I think the next step, so right now we've hired Wright Pierce, an engineering company, to assess the condition of the sewer main and provide us recommendations with cost estimates, different approaches of how to solve this pressing issue. We pretty much identified that, the sewer main is a straightish line all the way into the rotary, under the causeway to the lowlands pump station is pretty much a straight line. From the rotary to Lynn Water and Sewer, it goes up, down, left, right, and there's a ton of utilities, and that's where we're having this corrosion issue. So that's your most critical segment of sewer main is from the rotary to Lynn Water Sewer, and then in between those 2 points is where electrical conduit is nearby the pipe.
I would assume that that's what's probably causing a lot of problems.
And what's interesting about this location is about 10 feet beyond the pipe where it broke on either direction, pretty decent wall, pretty decent pipe there. It was just right where the electrical conduit went over.
Yeah.
So,
Can I ask, where that pipe broke, because I was there, where the pipe broke, this time, the first time it broke on the Linway last year, 2 years ago, it was directly almost across the street. So you're saying the pipe goes kind of through there and then takes a hard left and then...
I don't know specifically right there,
Yeah,
but
I mean, it was right in front of U-Haul.
Yeah.
You can see the hot top still there.
yeah. So the next step, I think, is to bring Wright Pierce in. I'd like to sit down with them and the board, and our, DPW superintendent, and talk about, they're supposed to be giving us that assessment by September with that menu of options, but, inclusive of that is the Cross Harbor option, which an assessment of feasibility on that is a pretty significant amount of money. And a lot of the assessment process is expensive because they're actually going down in the manholes, which we were planning to clean this week, but didn't get to because of this situation. They're actually going and looking at the pipe and trying to test the thickness. And anyways, the question comes, at what point, you spending a bunch of money on assessment to make a decision that's best for the town, or do you just get right into design? Because there could be a scenario where a cheaper option is just to fix the most critical areas along the Linway. Or, do we just get into design phase of putting a brand new plastic pipe, from the rotary to Lynn Water and Sewer, which, might be where we end up anyways. They're the experts. That's kind of where we're going. That's what we need to start having that conversation. We're trying to take the more business approach, best management practice approach of get the assessment done first and make a well-educated decision. But we're getting to a point where these breaks continue to happen and it's costing us a lot of money. So that meeting, I'd like to schedule it for the coming weeks. Paul, did I answer all your questions? Unfortunately, the short answer is we're responsible, and it's on our dime, and we have a problem that we have to fix. And we're trying to do it the best way possible and as fast as possible, but it's not an easy problem to solve.
My concern was that activities over there could put that pipe in danger, and who's responsible for permitting? Not us. People are not coming to us before they put in 300 condominium units and all the utilities and restructure the roads. They're not coming to us, and yet it's our property that's at risk, and
They haven't begun that process yet of running utilities to that site. I don't know where it's gonna be placed or how close it'll be, or if our pipe will be at risk of that. Certainly if they were to break our pipe, they'd be responsible to fix it. In this case, it's, it's hard to prove electrolysis, so to go after, the electrical company, I don't know if we could go after them for that liability, but,
I don't think they, back when they put that pipe in, it was in the 70s, you didn't have all the electrical conduits underground like they do now, and that's a major, major problem with any, ask a boater, they'll tell you the same thing, salt water, 2 dissimilar metals, and you get yourself a big battery, so, and it rots. It's gonna take the weakest metal and just eat it up, so. But, it might be a good idea to talk to the people that are doing their utilities down there and see if we can get them to, when they're putting their hole in,
part of this process,
maybe we can
part of this
work a
process
deal.
with Wright Pierce is also looking at alternative methods of financing, grants, regional approach of Swampscott's about 10 years behind us. Lynn has all this development going on. We all need our individual services, but if we can maybe share costs on excavation.
Yeah.
Because,
When they put the utilities in from those condos, that's gonna be a big, huge hole in the Linway.
right, so take
we should be able to
advantage
work
of
with
that
them then.
perhaps. Yeah, so those are the
Idea.
things, we're definitely considering that.
Good.
Tom, did you want to say something?
Not on the sewers.
I'm sorry?
I said not on the sewers. Sewer lines and breaks you'll always have. What I want to talk about is something that if we don't do the right thing, we won't always have it. I want to talk about history.
What?
I want to talk about history.
Yeah.
History of the town. The history of this town is the soul and backbone of what we have here. And what we talk about in Northeastern, the one thing we don't talk about is the history of Northeastern. That area was the home of Henry Cabot Lodge the Senior. And it was Henry Cabot Lodge the Senior that President Teddy Roosevelt looked to almost on a daily basis to get his program through the Senate of the United States. We have records here and pictures where he has been in town, but what we don't have are the records of the times he was here in secret talking with Henry Cabot Lodge. Without Henry Cabot Lodge and Nahant, we wouldn't have the Panama Canal. Without Henry Cabot Lodge and Teddy Roosevelt, hundreds of other pieces of legislation never would have gone through. The history of the northeastern area is the history of Henry Cabot Lodge and what this town stands for. And I think that, one thing we must do is to make sure that nothing is taken away from what we've done in the past by setting up a Henry Cabot Lodge park that also honors a former governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. What we must do is to make sure that we don't take away from the children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren of the people of Nahant something that they really have and should have for their future. And that's what this area means. The one thing we cannot do is to put a price on something that is priceless. We must not do anything to the area of East Point right now more than what has already been done. Save what we have. Save the history of this town for the future people who will be here, so they will really appreciate what we have had in our past.
No. You're first. Go ahead.
Jennifer McCarthy, 19 Range Road. I just want to say, and Billy had kind of said it, Northeastern cannot be trusted. They came to us at first and said 60,000 square foot building is what they wanted to build. Last week, they put out literature that said that they have compromised, they've listened to the people, and they're going to reduce it to 55,000 square feet. And then they filed paperwork this week that says 61,664 square foot building will be put up there. They cannot be trusted. They say one thing to your face, and then they turn around and do whatever it is that they want to do.
Jen, I actually noticed that number as well and reached out and asked about that. The explanation I received was that total square footage is a combination of the 55,000 square foot building and the pump house that they're moving off of the beach, which is about 6-something thousand square feet. So that's the explanation I received.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about history too. In this...
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alice Court, 7 Valley Road. Thank
Alice,
you.
I don't want to shut you off, but I'm going to get
No,
along with the meeting. You got a couple of minutes.
That's okay. I want to remind people, in December, Ralph Martin invited us to ask questions, and Susan Solomon and I, 10 days later, wrote to Northeastern and gave you copies. One of our questions was, what is Northeastern University's history of support for Nahant and the plan for the future? It is our understanding that 4 half scholarships may be awarded to Nahant residents annually, provided they are qualified students enrolled at Northeastern. Is this correct? How many years have these scholarships actually been paid out? Would the students have been eligible to receive other scholarships if enrolled otherwise? And what other assistance does Northeastern provide to the town, schools, organizations, et cetera, and what is perceived to be the monetary value of that assistance? So in their response, which they gave to numerous questions, 6 weeks later, they chose not to answer any of these questions about their history of support. And what I had heard just from history of living on Nahant for a long time, or my family has, was that actually, although they promised scholarships when they first started here 50 years ago, it took something like 30 years before they got started on them at all. And after watching the meeting 2 weeks ago, I learned from you that they were actually only acknowledging having given 2 half scholarships per year, presumably when students are there, and that they have also been giving $25,000 a year to the Johnson School. But I know for a fact that that hasn't been going on very long either, maybe even only 5 or 6 years. I asked if anybody else had other information about that stuff to document it. So my realization is that Northeastern has used a heck of a lot of resources from the town of Nahant over the past 50 years, including our roads, our sewer system, and especially in the last 15 years as they've built up more and more. And so I understand now they may be offering us money, but the way I look at it, they owe us money, that they should have been, paying us over that entire 50 years. I completely agree with the people who have said that we have a treasure that should not be lost, and it does seem as though finally Northeastern realizes, if some of these rumors are true, that it's for them it's worth a lot of money, so that they can sit up there and look down at how beautiful Nahant is. But our unfortunate situation is if we allow them to build a building, then we will have to look at them, and they will have destroyed one of our treasures. Thanks.
I just have a few. Ron Petrucci, 52 Nahant Road. Just a few quick questions. And 52 Nahant Road, I'm directly in the line of fire of Northeastern traffic, trucks. My question is this. I grew up in this town. I left for a bit. I came back home, built my house 20 years ago, my home. I put a sign on my property over a year. My neighbor called the police on me, told me to take it down. I took it down and moved it. Love Nahant sign. I signed a petition All due respect to this gentleman, it's a great story, great history. I love the town. All due respect to Billy, I'll say what I said last night. As a resident, especially after the sewer break, the tax hike, the town being in a deficit, who plans to pay for this lawsuit that Northeastern will bring with both guns blazing? That's my question. I need clarity as a resident. I think everybody needs clarity as a resident. Where is this committee I hear about? Where's the money? This town can't afford a lawsuit. I think we all know that. All of us. I can't even get the park outside my house fixed for 6 years. We can't get the mound fixed. We don't have the money. I keep asking, I keep being told, town's broke, have no money. This is a lawsuit that Northeastern will make sure, and I'm sorry, everybody, I really am. I'm with you all. I'm directly in the line of fire here. Peter, all due respect, Billy, everybody, where's the money coming from? It isn't going to come from this town. You can double, triple the taxes next year. It will not pay for this lawsuit. We have an attorney sitting here. Mr. Attorney, please, would you advise everybody what this could bring?
He's a labor lawyer.
He's a labor attorney. We've got
Okay.
we're
bring
gonna
an
we're gonna go in executive session after this open session, and we'll be discussing some personnel issues, and that's why he's part of the KP Law, which is the part of our current law firm and town council. He's one of the partners. So.
Well, Mr. Lombard, I just want clarity. As a resident who loves this town, I served on the Nahant Beach Surf Club, Nahant competition team.
That's a great question.
I've done it all.
No, it's
Great question.
It's a
I love
great-
it here. I came home.
It's a great question.
My son's here with his child.
Yeah,
He owns 2 homes.
We're not there yet, into that area of lawsuits and things like that.
Well, it's a lot of talk about lawsuits.
No, I understand, but we're not there yet. And so we're just gonna keep going, keep swinging the bat, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I just want to say, Mr. Lombard, and I'm
But
done.
believe me, if you've been thinking about it, so are we.
Well, I've been
Okay,
through it, and I'll
and-
tell you, any good judge and good attorney will tell you, negotiate.
No, no.
And I'm sorry, guys, but this is going to bring a
Yeah.
massive lawsuit. No one's going to take anything away. I wouldn't let them take it away from me. But look, I had to sign the petition. On a good weekend, I have every car in Nahant going by my home, banging a U-turn in my driveway. I've got to put a fence up across my driveway on 4th of July. I get hammered every day, and I don't want to get hammered any more than I already am. And I'm with everybody. Billy, I'm with you guys, I'm with you.
Who are you getting hammered by?
Traffic.
Up there?
No, I live in 52 Little Nahant Road.
Nahant Road, yeah.
I live a block up from Dunkin' Donuts. Billy, I get it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Christian Bada, 3 Swallow Cave Road. Just in response to that gentleman, I think Peter hit on it earlier. Come to us. If there's money is really the issue to defend this town, come to this community and let's see what we can do together, Richie.
Yeah, no,
Okay? What you see here is a group of people who probably love Nahant more than anybody else in this town. We came out here because we care. We want to make sure that our community is protected. We're selfish. We want things to stay the way they are. And guess what? We're ready to put our wallets to work for it too. Thank you.
James Walsh, 33 High Street. I would just, as you guys go forward and look at the totality of this situation, one of the things I hope you will do is hire a professional person who can assess the cost of the impact on the infrastructure down Nahant Road, around 40 steps, getting down to East Point. I think there will be, I'm going to just pull this out of the air, but it's not unreasonable, 1 million tons of material that will come down that street and around that corner into Northeastern. The layout was made for horses and carriages, and then cars came after that. But if we're going to have heavy, heavy trucks coming down there, the wear and tear on our infrastructure, I mean, it's bad enough on the Linway, and they have designed that to take some wear and tear. This 40 steps hasn't been designed for heavy truck traffic. So I think the potential cost of repairing the damage that would be done would far exceed anything about these legal costs. Legal costs, we can deal with that. But I think it would be millions of dollars in the impact of heavy traffic on that area. Thank you.
I forget who, I've lost my, no, the petition, I want to read the petition that was presented by Mike Manning. We, the undersigned citizens of Nahant, petition the Board of Selectmen following the provisions of Article 2 of the town bylaws include the attached proposed zoning bylaw amendment in the warrant for the next annual or special town meeting after appropriate hearing and review by the planning board. And this is the actual article. To see if the town shall vote to amend the Nahant zoning bylaws as follows. In section 410, use permitted in a natural resource district, subpart E entitled prohibited uses, at the end of the item 2, between the word above and the final period, insert the clause, see other parts of section 410, subparts A through D, and also see section 202, definitions for nonprofit, religious, and all educational purposes. And that's the petition that was submitted with 20 signatures to the board tonight. And I know we've got a motion here in a minute. Okay, is there any, I'm going to shut off the open meeting so we get through. We have a motion on the new business. Josh, you have a motion to read?
Yeah. I move that the Board of Selectmen vote to submit to the Planning Board an article referred to us by the Planning Board that amends the zoning bylaw pursuant to Massachusetts General Law C 40A, Section 5. Sections to be amended under the proposed article include the definition of a nonprofit, religious or educational purposes, and the table of use regulations in one or more respects.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Motion's been seconded. Further discussion?
This is, the planning board presented this last night, and I just want to make it perfectly clear that the chairman of the planning board was mentioning that we could dead end this tonight, we could kill it. We can't kill it. This has to go. We have to send this back to the planning board by right for them to have a public hearing and people to vote on it. Or they have to vote on it, and then it goes to a town meeting. So this is just basically a formality for us just to send it back to them. So that's it. That's all I got to say. I mean,
so I'll just add some words for clarity. So what we do is we send it back to the planning board. The planning board then holds open hearings on the proposed bylaw change. So
one public hearing.
One public hearing. So that's the opportunity for public input on that. And if it gets voted to be put forward by the planning board, then it goes to the towns at a town meeting, and would have to be passed by a 2/3 vote to make the change.
The motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted, it's going to have to be a special town meeting because we only have a certain amount of time. Once they have the public hearing, and I forget the timeline.
6
so
months.
We'll be having another public
Well,
special town meeting.
let's vote on this motion here, and then now we'll make a a motion to send this back to the planning board. Okay? The second motion, okay?
So we can vote on it.
Yeah, all those in favor, signal by saying aye.
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 No.
Motion passes 2-1. The next motion would be to send this back to the planning board.
That was the motion, right?
That's it.
No, that was it. That was, we don't
It's
need
going to-
to...
It doesn't, I mean, it's a formality, it has to go to them, so.
Yeah.
I don't even know why we bothered to do it, so.
Same formality for the petition
The other one, too.
submitted by the citizen, the
The
citizen
assistant,
petition.
yeah, the other one that Mike Manning brought up.
This should go to the planning board.
No, by law, citizen
We have to do
can
it.
submit to the Board of Selectmen.
Yep.
And then the Board of Selectmen have to, just same formality, have to send it to the planning board.
So,
It's not on the agenda, so I don't see how we can do it tonight.
is it okay to,
We can make a motion.
Actually,
We can make a motion on Mike Manning's petition? The motion has to be
let's
made.
just make sure it's okay, because it's not on the agenda. So I just want to make sure it's okay to,
Well, it was given to
wait.
me at the
the law,
open meeting.
the law says the Board of Selectmen have to submit it within 14 days. Our
Right.
next meeting is 14 days from now, so
Let's do
we
it
can
then.
put it on the next Board of Selectmen agenda for the 19th.
Let's do it then, that's the best way to do it, I think. Don't you?
okay, so that, right up against the deadline, but
Well, why don't we do it tonight?
Well, it wasn't on the agenda for tonight, it just was submitted to us tonight.
It was petitioned by, to us from,
I think you have the ability to, I mean, again, it's just a formality of sending it to the board.
yeah, but our next meeting is when?
19.
14 days, 19th.
No, sit down. You've already talked.
I only get once?
No, you only get one shot at. No, go ahead, Peter. Go ahead.
I don't understand, maybe the audience would like to know what Mike Manning's motion, or whatever you call it is, petition, is specifically asking to do.
Richie just read it, but I happen to have the section open that he's proposing to. So the change is this. It's in the section about the natural resource district. In that section, there is a section E called prohibited uses. And to save time, I'll just read what it says. So, prohibited uses. The following uses are prohibited in a natural resource district: the storage or disposal of any soil, loam, et cetera. Number 2, any building or structure, public or private, except as permitted above. Permanent storage of materials, storage or disposal of materials. I'm shortening these a little bit, and storage of hazardous wastes. So the proposed change is under the section 2, where it says any building or structure, in parentheses, private or public, except as permitted above. The proposed change adds a parentheses after the above and says, see other parts of section 4.10, subparts A through D, and also see section 2.02, definitions for non-profit religious or educational purposes. So really, it's probably hard to absorb, but what it's doing is it's just referring you back to the other sections of the zoning bylaw, so that when you read it, if you're reading,
It puts back what was taken out.
it's a cross-reference, basically.
Something was taken out. That's going to be taken out.
No, he's adding in a cross-reference, essentially. It's an editorial cross-reference.
Did the planning board try to do something and then he's trying to change it? I'm trying to understand.
Not as I see it, but I just got it a few minutes ago, too.
Yeah,
Looks to me like he's just cross-referencing to another.
It
Just came in today.
It just came in actually tonight. You saw it the first time. I mean, I'm just reading it now.
So it's not the planning board's trying to do something to make the bylaw stronger, and now someone wants to try to petition to make it weaker. It's not that, is it?
it actually makes it the same as it was. So what you see now is what it's going to revert back to. In other words, you have a change. You guys want to have a change, correct? Well, the planning board has petitioned, Jeff Mussman petitioned for a change.
What's the
To take out, where it says, in a natural resource area, if you look at the table of uses, it says permitted under the natural resource area for religious and schools and so forth. What he wants to do is clarify that through the planning board to say it's not permitted. What this is going to do is put it right back in it. It's,
So you take it... Peter, do you mind getting up to the microphone?
Excuse me if I'm not that smart. So if the planning board wants to take it out, it means that it would probably strengthen the bylaw to fight Northeastern.
No, the zoning, that zoning...
So if it goes back in, it gives them more latitude to do what they want. I may be wrong, but that's how I read it.
The zoning bylaw refers, it's in the index.
Yep.
It's not in the major bylaw. It's, in that bylaw, it says that allowed in that...
Correct, I understand.
Allowed is a educational
Yep.
or religious.
Right.
Now, the planning board voted the other night...
To take that out.
To take that out completely.
Which is good for the town.
Clarify it.
It's excellent, very good for the town.
I think this isn't the place to do this.
So why would someone...
I'm
that's
just...
a-
wait,
No,
wait, I'm
thank you,
trying-
Richie.
He's asking questions, and I want to answer the
Thank you.
questions.
Thank you very
I
much.
don't think we can.
Thank you, Richie.
It's not ours.
What do you mean?
This isn't ours. It's
Well,
the planning board.
well,
Oh, thank you. I'm learning.
I don't have the town council here to explain this to you, but...
Yeah, 'cause
next
I don't
time-
understand-
Well, I'll make
what I-
sure I'll make sure the town council...
Thank you.
Not this town council, because he's only here...
Yeah. So Enzo, to answer your question,
He's in personnel,
to this
yes.
simple mind I am, what I see is the planning board's trying to support the Seventarian residents, and actually you guys signed it, and to fight Northeastern, and we need strength, we don't need weakness, and then this petition, or whatever this thing is, would be to take it back to a weaker language, which would allow them more latitude in a lawsuit. That's what I see.
He signed the petition to put it back in.
Right, so,
Yeah, that's what he did.
we'll put it, it's not on tonight's
That's
agenda,
going,
so put it
that's
on
going to
the
be
agenda
sent,
for-
this is going to be sent...
That's got to go to the planning board also. So they'll have to deal with it.
That's going to go back to the planning board. Okay.
Okay,
Do you have a motion you want to read here?
No, we just did that motion.
Okay, yeah.
Voted.
All right. Town administrators report.
Oh, there's...
No,
Wait a minute.
Enzo has one.
Oh, Enzo, you got a...
Okay, I move the Board of Selectmen vote to accept the gift of a beach boardwalk material.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on before you... Did you have something? Well, no, well, why don't you hold off? You sit down, I'll get to you, okay? Because we had an opening, in the original thing. I want to get through the agenda here, all right? And then I'll get you up. Just sit back there and, I won't forget you. Trust me. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to move that the Board of Selectmen vote to accept a gift of beach boardwalk material.
Motion's been made.
Seconded?
Motion's been seconded. Further discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Wait a minute, we didn't get a chance to discuss.
Oh, did you
So,
want to?
what is the
You didn't
material?
make
I didn't know.
You gotta move your hand or raise your,
I was going to say something too.
Oh, you were?
What is this material?
Okay, go ahead. Okay,
I'm happy to-
well, hold on.
Why don't we let Tony explain it?
No, he'll go first. Go ahead, Josh.
What is
it?
the material and
Sure.
where's it going and where's it coming from?
Mr. Petrucci is donated to the town a boardwalk that can be used to properly access the beach. We still have to go through the Concom process and speak with them and the DPW about proper placement of it and set it up so it doesn't harm the dune. But right now, people are just walking over the dune, which is disturbing it. It's preventing vegetation to grow. It's causing an indent actually into the dune. So this boardwalk is actually recommended, is a practice recommended by coastal zone management as a way to identify an area to access the beach and prevent further destruction to the dune. So it's because of the, I think it's, Mr. Petrucci, do you want to say anything about it, or?
Well, it was,
You don't mind getting to the, and basically the formality here is, because of the value of this product, the formality is the Board of Selectmen are required to formally accept the gift.
What beach are you?
Short Beach.
Mr. Lombard, this
Short
is at the Little Nahant Short Beach side,
Yeah.
over the mound, where I watch people every day falling over, tripping over. The concrete pad is unusable. There's not only muck that sits there, but people cannot get onto it. It's 3 feet above the beach. So my neighbor and I donated this Trex boardwalk. We had it made special for the mound, 6 feet wide, which is for municipality. This boardwalk actually saved a neighborhood in New Jersey in a storm from breaking through a mound and flooding the neighborhood. So I talked to Concom, Kristen Kent. She looked at it, she read about it, she talked about it, she okayed it. So we bought it, and we donated it to the town. You know, it's funny, I go down out in the back of my house, and I help women try to get down that concrete pad that was there since I was a kid. It doesn't work. It's going to cause an injury. And trying to climb the mound now that's about 3 feet taller than it ever was, I watch people every day in the summer fall over that mound trying to get their cart over it, their bicycle over it, their kids over it. So instead of watching people get hurt or about to be hurt, we got the boardwalk, got Concom to sign off on it, and we donated it to the town.
And who's going to install
I'll
it?
just a point of clarification, from speaking with Kristen, that she has okayed in the sense of the material that the boardwalk is made out of, the actual boardwalk itself is a recommended way to traverse over the dune by CZM, but there's still some discussion to be had about exactly how it's going to be constructed or where it's going to be placed. So there's still some work to be done. So I just wanted to just a point of clarification
It's
there.
40 feet long now, and it's made out of Trex, so it's durable. It comes in 10-foot sections that can be put together, taken off, stored away for the winter. It can last for years. And if it works, I was told that maybe it'll be used for further down the beach instead of the walkways where the water does come through on a storm. And it's just more of a test also for the town, keeping the storm water coming down the walkways in Big Nahant.
Have we gone out and inspected that yet?
Inspected the dune?
No,
Or-
inspect the
It's
problem.
at DPW now. It was delivered today.
I mean, should we shut it down completely and seal it off, and then people just gonna have to walk to the Coast Guard station?
I don't think you're going to have a very happy neighborhood.
It's not, that's
Well,
not,
I'd rather shut it down instead of you're telling me people get falling down and getting hurt.
Well, that's what we're trying to prevent.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, how long is it gonna take to put this boardwalk in?
shouldn't take long at all. It's just 10-foot sections, there's 4 sections of it, I believe. We just need to decide basically where it's going to get put.
Okay. I have no problem with it.
I actually commend him for doing this to the town, for the town, because first of all, it saves the dunes, and we need to have more dune projects, and that's what we're going to do with the MVP and the community rating system. And I appreciate that because if you go to like Wingasheek Beach, they have those similar boardwalks, and when the water does come up, I mean Spring Road and of course Fox Hill Road, I mean the water just comes right over. You can see it. It's just a path for it to come over. And if you build up the dunes, it's great. Now, if you look at the other side, the harbor side, people have said, you know, boy, you can't see when you're driving by anymore. You can't see Revere anymore. well, it's actually a great thing. I mean, get out of your car. You can go see it if you want to, because it does save the water from coming over during a 100-year, flood event.
It holds the dune together.
Yeah. So it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea, Ron, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
We appreciate very much you donating this.
Yeah.
Very
Thank you,
nice.
Ron.
Well, Jim Lang and myself don't.
Oh, okay.
The silent part, yeah. He's the silent.
He's hiding, I can't see him, though, there he is.
You can make him talk if you want.
Excuse me? No, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Tony, Town Administrator's report?
I was gonna speak about the sewer,
Sewer break?
which I already discussed, so.
By the way, we own the sewer main going from our pump station to Lynn, all the way across. Problem is, these breaks are happening right down by that U-Haul. That's the third break in a row. In the town of Nahant, we have one major pump station, which is in behind Lowlands, and then we have 9 satellite pump stations. When this thing breaks down, we've got to bring trucks in. They've got to pump out those wells, and then drive it over to the Lynn Water and Sewer. That's the cost of these sewer trucks. You'll see them going right around, but they're emptying the wells in these 9 satellite pump stations and the major station. So when this happens, that's when you see all these sewer trucks coming in, and they're picking up and bailing out each of those, the 9 satellite plus the main one. But we've been fortunate that hopefully we've got to put a new pipe. That pipe is quite old. And the problem is, it's going across the causeway, it's in sand, and it doesn't get the weight of 18-wheelers, and this is like the third breakdown there in that area. It's in the same area. And so, I think our engineers have to come up and get a better design, redesign this so we don't keep having that problem, because that's some of the big things that's the reason why it broke, I think.
One other thing that I didn't mention about the financial side of it. The last break that we had in April of 2017 caused the town to do an emergency borrowing of $1.3 million, and that was then shifted. It was from the sewer rate to the tax rate, and that was why last year's taxes went up. Then the town borrowed $4 million to assess and come up with a plan and construct repairs to the sewer main, which probably isn't going to be enough, to be honest. It's the first step, but we're able to use, this time around, we're utilizing a portion of that $4 million that we've borrowed, which we're spending on the assessment, camera and debris removal work around town, which was required by DEP, and then now we'll be able to use some of that money for this repair, which will be in the 6 figures. We don't know how much it is yet, but it's going to be expensive. So, good news is we had the money. Bad news is it cuts into our budget for the larger project. But I just wanted to make sure people were aware of that.
People should also realize that the sewer station at Lowlands is in deplorable condition, and that's going to have to be tended to also. It's old, it's almost antiquated, it's kind of falling apart, so this is a huge project, and we did have a meeting over it, and people should know. I mean, we have those costs out there and what needs to be done. But we have a new engineering company coming in to do the assessment, and I would say yes, go into the second phase as soon as you can, because we know it has to be done. This has been going on for like 4 or 5 years now. It's got to get done, so. And you're doing a good job, by the way. I appreciate it.
So we'll have that meeting with the engineering firm in the next couple weeks, right?
I personally, we have to do a after-action meeting just about this one thing, and as I said, Zach just started this week, so he's got a lot that he's catching up on, so, let Wright Pierce, the engineer, take a look at the pipe that we pulled out of the ground, analyze that, and talk to them next week when we have this after-action meeting about when we could have them come and talk to the board at a Board of Selectmen meeting. It's part of the contract that we signed with them for the assessment is multiple community meetings where they would come and present to the town where we are with it. So absolutely, I just don't want to commit to a time frame yet. But it's around the corner.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Can you,
Question on this?
I'm sorry?
Question on this?
Sure.
This has been going on for 4 or 5 years. That's not long after we had a 3 to 4 or 5 year project re-engineering and rebuilding the causeway. Was the sewer line part of that project? Was that considered in how they were rebuilding the causeway?
On the causeway itself?
Well, the causeway project that
Causeway had nothing to do with
it wasn't
us.
just the roadway; it was what
That's-
was underneath.
That's the DCR did that.
Causeway project was done by the DCR. They own the causeway. They did do a ton of stormwater work under there, but they did not touch the town's sewer main that goes through. Goes underground.
Did they consider what the impact would be on the sewer line, or sewer main?
I don't think it's a straight shot from there. I don't think there's a problem on the causeway
Don't think
at
it's
all.
related.
No, I think it's
The pipe on the causeway, the sewer is all the way down.
Yeah.
It's on the inside, in the roadway on the inside, the parking lane. It's inside that gate.
All right,
It's
so you
on
don't
the
think
lin-
there's any relation to
the
the
brakes-
engineering there and the issues
No,
that we have now?
the breaks have been, recent breaks have been on the Linway.
Right.
Yeah.
And more likely than not, it's due to corrosion from other utilities in the area corroding the pipe. I mean, it's an old pipe. You have multiple utilities along the Linway. It's stressed because we have a ton of infiltration where we have stormwater getting into our sewer pipes. So when we have a major storm event or a flood, our sewer volume going out of town increases significantly. So we know we have infiltration in our sewer system. So that, we had a ton of rain lately hitting a weak point in the pipe along the Linway is probably what caused it to that specific spot to burst.
I just want to raise the question of whether the reconstruction of the causeway might have added to the stress of this that we should think about.
We're also going to do a
Short answer is probably not.
Yeah. Okay.
They're going to do an analysis of going across the harbor from pretty much where the Ward bathhouse is, straight across that way.
Yeah,
I like that idea. I think it's a great idea to get it off the Linway.
Get it off the Linway,
Right.
totally.
But permitting it is...
Go in by the DCR Public Works Building, and then go straight underground to Lynn Water and Sewer, because it's right, that pipe has to go under the
Ocean.
Seafloor.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, thanks.
I had someone back here, where is he? I didn't want to leave him alone.
Oh, Ed.
Ed, come on up. I didn't forget you. He snuck up before you, and I apologize for that.
Oh, that's quite all right.
He'll never do it again, I promise you.
My name is Edward Goodrich. I live at 77 Lennox Road in Little Nahant. By extension on town history, I make reference to the town rights of way, which are town property, deeded town property, which have been misappropriated, built upon, paved over, squatted upon over the years. And myself being a fisherman and being close to right-of-way, which was number 13, which is no longer there because it was torn down, and the stairway removed for my safety. by the adjacent property owners. I have spoken to the planning board on numerous occasions. I have presented packages to the Board of Selectmen indicating each one of these sites and where they've been misappropriated. And this has been going on for a decade. I get stories about, well, we're studying the problem from Mr. Snyder, who was then, I guess maybe he still is, I'm not sure, the planning board chairman. I have met with him personally. I have met with members of the selectmen personally, the town administrator, this one, as well as this one, Tony, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And the previous administrator, and the previous administrator to he. And I get stories and excuses. Well, we're surveying the town property. We're surveying each one of these rights away. It's town property. It's on maps. It's deeded property. You go to the Salem Deeds, I guess, website, and you can find these rights away. And yet we are spending time surveying them or having studies, or we're looking into that for over a decade. I live at 77 Lenox, and within walking distance, there are 5 rights of way which are inaccessible. I can't use them. People have put parking lots on them. They've blocked them off. They no longer exist because of this misappropriation of town property. Forgive me for getting adamant. I take it personally. I have a 10-year-old son. We both like to fish. Number 13 is a perfect place for stripers. And so I have a personal investment in this. My question, gentlemen, is at what point do we stop and say, return these rights away to the town? Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman. I want to speak.
You want to address it?
I've talked to Ed on numerous occasions. I've had this conversation with him, and I understand what you're saying. I think what Zach should do, Zach Taylor, when the summer kids come in, is go around to all these rights of ways, and on the street, paint it, stencil it, public right of way, and put a sign up. This is a public right of way. The particular one he's talking about, the house is for sale. Mark the deed. Just do what you got to do legally, and so they have to restore it to the way it was, so that they can sell it. Whether they have to take a tree down, whether they have to take a wall down, whatever they have to do, but it's got to be restored to the way it was. The town stairs. Are we talking about the town stairs also, Ed?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And I have a group of people that would be more than happy to replace that staircase.
The town steps have been there for a million years. I mean, they can't do this. The people just can't come in and start taking rights away from the town. That's the only way you get from one point to another in Little Nahant. That's the way it's always been. So if there's a right-of-way, they can't, if it's a deeded right-of-way, they shouldn't be doing it, period. So we need to mark them, go after that one, especially number 13, and, legally. I mean, sending letters to these people means nothing. I don't want to send another letter to them because they just throw them in the barrel. So I want something done about it.
Totally agree. It's ridiculous.
No more letters. We don't need to send them a letter.
Well, I was just going to suggest, why send letters? Why don't we send the public works down and clear out the right-of-ways?
I mean, you have...
Take some action. Take the letters,
I understand.
Why wait? If they're not answering the letters, then they don't care about the right-of-way.
There could be legal ramifications.
Listen, yeah, I understand.
Well, we just, we got to take it back somehow. Either notify them, have our attorney draft a letter and say, listen, you've got 30 days.
I've also spent much time with Ed, and I completely agree where his stance on this, and I understand it's an emotional conversation that we're having, but the town DPW cannot just go and start ripping up somebody's driveway or retaining wall that was encroached on the property, we have to go through the proper legal procedure, or else we could find ourselves at risk. So I agree, we're working on it. I know that's a tough answer to swallow because for 10 years, that's the answer that's been given. But I understand it's a priority. We're speaking with our attorneys about specifically that house that's up for sale and what that, because that would be a different process of how to solve these problems. You know, I hate to, again, say, you know, it's a matter of resources, but it is. And we are looking into it. It's going to take time. That doesn't mean that it's not a priority. It's just not something that we can solve quickly.
I think if you got the summer kids just to paint those and put the signs back up.
I think that's something that we
and
can
I think
do.
I mean, is there a committee that does a perambulation still? They used to go out every year. Yeah, but they had a committee that did that years ago.
I think
They
the
had-
open space
They had
is
an
gonna,
actual perambulation, huh?
I think the open space is
The
going
open
to take
space
that
committee
charge.
did it, and they actually had red signs up. I don't see any of them anymore.
Yeah, I think the painting on the street is a good idea because people are just taking the signs down. I went up to that
And I
spot,
think-
and you can't tell there was any. You would never guess there was a public right of way there.
Right. And I think, Ed, the one in Little Nahant, I think that you, I guess the person that was living there was throwing people out, telling them they can't get down there. And it wasn't his to begin with, and he shouldn't have been doing that. And, you know, he was scaring people away. So it's got to be dealt with. There's no doubt about it.
If I may, not all of the situations require excavation. The one at the foot of Lennox, there's a picket fence. But again, the sign is gone. But if the sign were there, you could gain access quite easily without bringing in a backhoe or destroying someone's driveway. In this case, you'd be destroying maybe a rose garden, which is very expensive, I'm sure. But the point is that these people incurred cost to construct these projects. It costs money to pave over a driveway. And if they can expend money to do this, why can't they expend money to remove the impediments?
Agreed. Right. Completely. Couldn't agree more.
Another case, the town solicitor sent me a letter when I installed a shed on my property that was too tall by a couple feet. I ended up having to slice the top off of my shed. It was a beautiful shed. But he took the time to send me that letter and threaten me if I didn't comply. Why can't this same zeal be applied to these situations? Thank you very much.
Under the planning board survey, you know, Ed's aware, just so everyone else, planning board did a survey, mapped out where the rights of ways were.
Yeah.
Under the former town administrator and 2 superintendents ago, letters were sent to every single encroacher. I believe they even went and then followed up with those letters with individual meetings with some of those residents. And then we had transition at both of those positions. So, you know, we're kind of picking up where it was left off, and we're. I think the way that I've been advised is that you have to give them the opportunity first to right the situation. You give them a time frame. If they don't comply, then you can go in. But again, like you said, I'd much rather them pay the money to fix the problem than the town. So, again, it's well understood by you, others in town, the planning board, the board of selectmen, that this is a priority, and we're trying to get some action on it.
The building department should really be watching this too. When they do this, they should really just kind of stop it. I mean, that's what we have them for. They should know where they are.
I'm sorry?
Up to the next thing, almost done.
Yeah. Anyone else? I'm going to get into closing arguments for the board.
Let me
Not
do this.
arguments. Did you have something else? Wait a minute.
No, I thought that was a motion. I'm sorry, I didn't
Okay.
read it right.
Kip is going to have a 10K road race will be taking place this Sunday, June 9, starting at 8 a.m. Please anticipate a delay in traffic during the time frame. I hope everyone let them run, and it's always a good thing.
Okay. I hereby move to enter into executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, 3, to discuss strategy with respect to the litigation.
Okay, the motion's been made. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Discussion?
Nope. Roll call vote.
Should be a roll call vote.
To return,
Wait.
does it have to add that in?
Right. In our opinion, discussing this matter in open session will have detrimental impact on the board's litigation position.
I was supposed to read it.
That's okay.
Any other further discussion? We're going to be going into an executive session here to deal with personal. We will not be going back in general session. Before I close the meeting and adjourn tonight's regular open, is there anyone else would like to say anything before I close? Motion to adjourn and into an executive session. So moved.